Let us explore sketching lines with parameters. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In this video, we are going to explore standard form of equation, which can also be written as ax plus by equals to c, for possible values of a, b, and c. So whenever you have to sketch such lines, you have to find the x-intercepts and then connect them. So we'll see how do we define x and y intercepts, how do we find x and y intercepts, and then sketch a graph using them. And we'll actually work on 4 questions, which are right there before you. So these are the 4 questions. We will sketch the graph of these lines. 2x minus y equals to 6, which is a straightforward question. However, the trick involved in sketching 4x minus by, see b is not known, equals to 12, where b is positive, greater than 0. Then we have ax minus by equals to 10, where a and b are positive. And then we have ax minus by equals to 7, where a is less than 0, means negative value, and b is positive. In that case, how is going to be the graph of the line? That is what you have to figure out. So you can actually pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. I will go at length to describe this process with the help of basic definitions so that all students get complete concept. Well, in case you want to learn from me, you can always send an email on the address given. Most of my students are right there on top of their class getting awards and scholarships like Akshit.
After attending university. The winner of this year's Certificate of Achievement Schulich Leader Award is anil.anilkhandelwal.
Great. Our student Akshit gets highest marks and the most prestigious Schulich Leader Award. You can be there. Join our classes and excel. Now, to begin with, let us first understand what is this equation of line, right? And what are x and y intercepts. So here, I'll take a moment to define what is x-intercept and what is y-intercept. Well, x-intercept of a line is a point where the graph crosses x-axis. So if that is the line given to us, then the point which I am going to highlight and mark it now, this is your x-intercept, right? So this is what we say as x-intercept. So as you can see, at x-intercept, y value is 0. The other point where the line crosses the y-axis is called the y-intercept. So the coordinate point of x-intercept will normally be what? Well, y value is going to be 0, right? So it will be some value, let's say p, and then 0 for y, correct? For the y-intercept, the value will be 0 for x and q for y. So p and q could be any value, any integer for that matter. So you understand that. So x-intercept of a line is a point where the graph crosses x-axis, obvious, right? Very clear. And y-intercept is a point where the graph crosses y-axis. Well, this is a common definition which can be used for any curve. So curves can also turn, right? So that is kind of difference. So here, a line will definitely cross. And therefore, we have used the word crosses, x-axis and y-axis, for x and y intercepts. Now, the observation here is that at x-intercept, y value is 0. So, let us also figure out the steps to find the intercepts of a line when the line is given to us in this form, ax plus by plus c. So to find the x-intercept, what should you do? You place y equals to 0. So substitute y equals to 0 and find x-intercept. That is our step 1. So in this, if I substitute y equals to 0, then this number here becomes 0, right? For y equals to 0, you are left with ax equals to c. And now divide by a, you get x-intercept as c over a, correct? So basically, this point here can also be written as c over a 0, correct? If the equation of the line is ax plus by equals to c. Make sense? So if the equation of the line is ax plus by equals to c, then the x-intercept is c divided by the coefficient of x, which is a. And what is the y-intercept? Well, clearly, for y-intercept, I'm going to put x equals to 0. So this term will be 0. And therefore, by is c of y is equal to c over b, right? So we get the y-intercept as the ratio of c and coefficient of y, right, as the y value and x value being 0. Make sense? So that is how you get x and y intercept. Simple as that. And to sketch a graph of a line, just join 2 points with a straight line. You get your graph. So that is how we'll connect x and y intercepts and extend the line on both the sides to get the line. You get a clear idea about it, right? Okay, great. So based on this, as I told you earlier, we have these 4 questions. You can now pause the video and answer these questions. Basically, you have to sketch. Now, can you tell me what really sketch means? So when I say sketch, you have to identify the intercepts, both x and y, and connect them with a line, which looks like a straight line and also shows you the trend, whether it is decreasing or increasing as we move from left to right on the graph. Perfect. So let's see the very first question, where we will sketch line for the given condition. The condition here is 2x minus 3y equals to 6. So as we just decided, we will actually find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, correct? And the y-intercept. So that is what we are interested in. To find x-intercept, what am I going to do? I'm going to substitute y equals to 0 in the given equation. So we have 2x minus 3 times 0 equals to 6, right? So clearly 2x is equal to 6 and x is equal to 6 by 2, which is 3. So I get my x-intercept as 3. So on this particular graph, I'm marking x-intercept as the point 3. Great. Now let's find the y-intercept. So y-intercept, we have to put x equals to 0. So as soon as I put x equals to 0 in the given equation, which clearly is 2x minus 3y equals to 6, what happens? Well, we get 0 minus 3y equals to 6. And therefore, y equals to 6 divided by minus 3, which is y equals to minus 2. So we get y-intercept as minus 2. Clear? So that becomes our y-intercept of minus 2. And we already have x-intercept of 3, correct? And connecting these 2 points with a straight line, we get our graph, correct? So this is what we mean while we are sketching a line, correct? So this is the y-axis, x-axis, origin, and we have our line. So that is a sketch. So in a sketch, we have to identify the intercepts and the trend. So we see that the line is rising, correct? You also see that it goes through. It does not touch quadrant 2, right? It is going through these other 3 quadrants, correct? It goes mainly through quadrant 4, right? Not 3, correct? As a rising line. So I hope this concept is clear. Perfect. Now, if one of these coefficients is not given to you, then how to sketch? That is the tricky part which you learn in this particular video. So now the line equation is given to you as 4x plus by equals to 12, where b is greater than 0. Okay. So let's rewrite this equation, big and bold. So we have 4x plus b times y equals to 12. and we are given b is greater than 0, means positive, correct? Okay, so let's again begin by finding the x and y intercepts, and clearly the x-intercept is what? X-intercept is when y equals to 0. Substituting y equals to 0, I get 4x equals to 12, or x is equal to 12 over 4, which is 3. And therefore, the point 3, again, I'm pointing at this place, which is 3, right? So we got the x-intercept. Now, let's find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, what should I do? I'll put x equals to 0, right? So, perfect. So, y-intercept means x is equal to 0 in the given equation. So, 0 plus by is equal to 12. And now, y is equal to 12 over b. Now, since b is greater than 0, means positive, means this y-intercept should be positive, right? It could be anywhere on this part. You get the idea. So, the graph will be kind of going downwards, correct? So, I can actually draw a line here, going through this point. You get the idea? Something like this, where this y-intercept is 12 by b. And definitely, since b is positive, the graph will go through these three quadrants, right? Not quadrant 3 this time, right? Do you see that? So it is downwards. So we see that the line goes down, right? And it goes from quadrant 2, 1 to 3, right? It is not there in quadrant 3, right? So it is not in quadrant 3, but other three quadrants it goes through. So that is how you're going to sketch the line. Is that clear to you? Perfect. So you notice that in case b is greater than 0, that is the kind of line. Okay, so now I think you have understood this concept. Now here's the third question with a variation, and this is the third variation. See, this time we have ax, a is not known, by, b is not known, in between minus equals to 10, and we are saying both a and b are positive. Okay, now let's figure out x and y intercept and sketch the graph. Perfect. Can you do it? Pause the video and do it. Okay, so for x intercept, I will put y equals to 0. So you can kind of hide that part, right? So you get ax equals to 10, or x is equals to 10 by a. And since both are greater than 0, we know this is greater than 0, positive, right? So it is somewhere in this part, right? It is somewhere here, correct? Do you understand? We don't know exactly, but somewhere there. You get the idea. This is the concept. And now, to find the y-intercept, what will I do? I will put x equals to 0. And so we get minus by equals to 10, or y equals to minus 10 by b. Now, since b is greater than 0, we know this number is going to be less than 0. And that means the y-intercept will be somewhere here in the lower half, correct? And therefore, any line which is rising, correct, can represent the given equation. You get the idea. So where the points are minus 10 by b, right? And this point here will be 10 by a. Make sense? We are taking that a is greater than 0 and b is also greater than 0. You get the idea in the given equation, right? The equation of the line is ax minus by equals to 10. Perfect. So that is what we mean. A and b could be any value but positive. In that case, the graph is not going to go through quadrant 2, but it will go through the other three quadrants. Perfect. The last question for you is question number 4, which I'd like you to take as a test question. So here we have ax minus by equals to 7, where a is negative and b is positive, greater than 0. Perfect. How will you sketch this particular line? Okay, let's look into it. Steps, we have to find x and y intercepts, right? So you have to find x-intercept, which really means that y is equal to 0, and find y-intercept, which means that x is equal to 0. Correct. So when you substitute y equals to 0 in this equation, you get ax equals to 7 or x is equals to 7 over a. And now a is less than 0, right? A is less than 0, and that means that this value of x, which is 7 over a, is negative, right? Is also less than 0. So that means the x-intercept will be somewhere on the left side. Correct? Make sense? That is kind of critical to understand. Perfect. Now let's move on and take a y-intercept for the line ax minus by equals to 7. Substituting x equals to 0, we get minus by equals to 7, y equals to minus 7 over b. And since b is greater than 0, right, this is going to be negative, right? So y equals to minus 7 over b is going to be definitely less than 0. And this time, we get this point somewhere here. Joining this, we get a line which could be like this, right? So let me draw a straighter line. Okay, that's good, better. Okay, so we have a line, and this time this line doesn't go through quadrant 1. Do you see that? So line drops, right? Decreases. Correct? And it goes through all the quadrants, but not through quadrant 1. Do you see that? So that is how our line is, where these are the x and y intercepts, where we can say the value of x is 7 over a and the value of y is minus 7 over b. Perfect. So that is how we have to sketch these lines and understand the concept. Perfect. So here, I'd like you to summarize what kind of graphs did you draw. Okay. So take a moment to summarize all this and also look forward to our next video, which will be a multiple choice test question for you, where you need to match the graph with the given condition. For example, here we have matched the graph with ax plus by equals to c, where a, b, c are all positive. So which one is the right answer? So we'll have 10 questions like this for you. But before that, let us now come back to the summary of this. So the first one, what did you do? Well, we found that the x-intercept in this case was what? So x-intercept was 6 over 2, which is 3, right? 6 over 2, which is 3. And the y-intercept was 6 over minus 1, right? In this particular case, in this equation. So that will be minus 6, correct? So we're talking about this question. The one which I drawn, some other values were there. So that means that we have 5 and 1, 6 here, minus 6, and 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So we have a line which goes kind of like this. So this is our first line, which is question 1, right? So let's say line 1. Now let's talk about the second line. Second line here, b is positive and the value of x-intercept is what? X-intercept will be 12 divided by 4, which is 3, correct? So which is positive 3 again here. And y value will be 12 divided by b, right? So y-intercept is 12 by b. b is greater than 0 means positive. So we have a line which goes through this point, but it is going downwards. Do you see that? So that is a line 2. Then we had the equation, which was ax minus by equals to 10. A and b both are positive, and we have x equals to 10 over a, which is positive, and then we have y equals to 10 over minus b, right, which is negative. So negative and positive. So we have this line, which will go something like this, correct? Line 3. The fourth line, ax minus by equals to 7. And a is negative, b is positive. So x is equal to, in this particular case, let me write here, we have space. X is equal to 7 over a. But a is negative, so this is less than 0. And y is equal to 7 over minus b, or minus 7 over b. But b is positive, so this is also less. So both are negative, right? So this graph will be kind of like this, correct? Line 4. You get an idea. So these graphs are drawn based on the given conditions of the line, and that was the exercise which we did. I hope it makes sense. Perfect. So in this particular video, you learn all these concepts. You know now how do we define x and y intercepts. We've seen how do we find the intercepts and sketch a graph, correct? We have drawn many lines depending on different conditions, and here are your practice test questions. Question number 1 and 2. So px minus qy equals to 12, p and q both are greater than 0. I'd like you to sketch this line. Then we have ax plus by equals to 6, where a is greater than 0 but b is less than 0. I'd like you to sketch that line as a practice test question. I hope you find this sequence of learning interesting and useful. So we have introduced parameters a, b and c in our equations and made it more interesting. I hope you understand and appreciate this approach. Feel free to share with me your comments and suggestions. In case you want to learn from me, you can always send an email on the given address. Thanks for your time and all the best.